This is Antoan Whidbee and the Legal Way with Attorney Antoan Whidbee. We're coming live location, Fatheadz Barbershop, Clayton, North Carolina, right off of Highway 70. We're here. We're doing the show. Choice FM 92.1. Come on in. Let me introduce you to the owner of Fatheadz Barbershop.
I'm Fatheadz from Fatheadz Barbershop, 10401 US 70 Highway Business West. We're not just the biggest barbershop in Johnson County, we're also the best. We're a community-based shop. We give to the community. We open our doors to the community. If anybody needs anything, if I got it, we got it.
There was an incident that took place yesterday. I am not going to identify names of the people involved. There was a Smithfield police officer. I guess, you know what, actually I can mention the police officer's name, Officer Coates, and a gentleman where it sounds like he was being arrested for either driving while impaired or something related outside of the Amazon in Smithfield. There are videos all over social media right now. The one that I've seen so far, it is this gentleman was being arrested. He was on the ground, I believe, face down and was spun around to being face up. And he was handcuffed and he received a beating, what I'm going to call a beating, several shots, closed fist to the face, and then he was arrested. So if you're on social media, take a look at that, follow it. It is something that it is an issue that I have very strong convictions on. So I'm going to start doing some interviews. This young man that we're going to do first, I've been known for about 10 years. Now, I'm going to say your name right for once. Darren Robinson. Come over here and have a seat. Have a seat for me right here.
There.
Wherever you feel comfortable. Wherever you feel comfortable. So I know you know me. I know you know the type of things I do in this community. I asked you, I sort of bum rushed you first thing this morning after you got your haircut. I said, look, tell me how old you are.
28.
Tell the audience your full name.
Darren Robinson.
And where you live.
Smithfield, North Carolina.
All right. So you know why we're here. You heard the host. Couple things. What issues would you say are important to you that if you were to go vote today, or if you decided not to vote, what issues would sort of spark your interest or that you're concerned about that would make you make a decision either way, not to vote or to vote?
It's funny that you asked because I actually watched a clip on Instagram yesterday of a guy and his daughter. They were in a town hall. I'm not sure exactly what state or what city they were in, but the town hall was basically allowing little boys to use the same bathroom as little girls. And they said it was something that the school board had just kind of pushed on them. And the parents at the schools had no idea that it was going on. And the little girl visually seemed upset about it. And that's a very big thing. I have two nephews, and they're very big on knowing right from wrong and what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. And just something that small, if that's going on in the school systems, that lets you know that it's coming from somewhere. Okay. And that's the issue for me. And I don't even have kids, but just knowing that my nephews, what they go through on an everyday basis, that's something I don't feel like they should be introduced to in school. Okay. Especially if that's something that their parents don't align with at all. Okay.
Let me ask you this question. I'm about 25 years older than you.
Right.
Where I get my information as far as news from is completely different than where young folks get their information from.
Right.
Where do you normally get your news about what's going on in the world from? Like media space or stuff like that?
A combination of where I work at, which is Carolina Packers, and then also social media. Being my age, social media is a very big thing with us. So yeah, it's basically all I really look at on social media is just social injustice and things that are going on around the world that I may not be in tune with, or just things that I may not even pay attention to on a daily basis just because I work so much. And when I come home, I kind of just tune a lot of stuff out. So having that social media outlet to kind of just always bring that stuff towards me, always shaped a big light.
So I have as an older person, do you feel like people in my generation or your dad's generation understand?
It's like 50-50. I feel like
don't get yourself in trouble.
No, definitely. I feel like because you guys were all our age once, so there's that mutual understanding of you understand some things that we go through just being that same age and over time. And then with us living in this new age, I feel like we're more in tune to a lot of other things that go on around the world because of social media. And I feel like sometimes that can either cause us to have different views or even fallouts over just because we grew up in two different ways in two different environments.
Interesting answer. So when you term social media, my generation, I'm normally talking about Facebook.
Right.
Recently, I finally started getting into Instagram. It's a good
Instagram, Twitter. There's this new social media called Threads that just came out, I believe, earlier this year.
That's linked to Facebook, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And Threads is kind of another version of Twitter. It's just more so connected with Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
But yeah, those three for me are my go-to. I'm on Facebook, but not really as much, but definitely Instagram, Threads, and Twitter are where I get a lot of my social media stuff from.
So you mentioned, you said something that I found interesting. You said it caused fallouts between my generation sometimes.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Just the differences in how we were raised and what we see going on in the world versus how you guys may portray things versus how we portray things. I think that just causes a big difference sometimes. And also I feel like our generation, sometimes we don't really know how to express ourselves as far as communication. That's why we lean on social media so much. And you guys' era was more so talking things out and stuff like that because you didn't grow up in a social media era where you could just kind of voice your opinions online and just go from there.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. You said the one issue that sparked your interest was bathroom usage and the thought that maybe
we can go on.
People in certain school environments, maybe your nephews may end up being in the bathroom with somebody they should be in the bathroom with.
Right.
Okay. Has that been something that you've actually heard in the Johnson County school system, or is it something that happened somewhere else, but it came to your mind when you saw that?
I haven't necessarily heard the bathroom incidents happen in Johnston County, but I've heard other teachers, not teachers, but friends of mine who have kids talk about how their kids maybe are going to a school where they're being pushed on the LGBTQ agenda. And for you to try to push that on kindergarten, anybody from kindergarten to fifth grade, those kids are still adapting and learning every day, and they pick up knowledge so quick. To try to force that on a kid, it's not right, I feel like. Especially when you know that's not what their parents are aligning with.
Let me ask you this question. And I'm going to ask, okay? Because I'm normally involved in the school system directly, mentoring kids, stuff like that. Are we sure that's actually going on, or is it something that's being said is going on? Because I'll be honest, and it does not mean it's not happening, because I'm one person with only a certain amount of time.
Right.
I can't say that I've actually seen that. Now, what I have seen is fixed. I have seen situations where there are conversations about how to deal with people that are different than you.
Right.
So, for example, I'm gonna give you my own example. It's been a year ago now, I think. My daughter's big into soccer, you know that.
Yep.
And she got invited to a game, and it was the pride celebration for the Carolina Courage. The Carolina Courage is the professional women's soccer.
Yeah.
I knew what it was. When I heard the word pride, I was like, uh-oh. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a pride celebration, so I can expect to be in certain conversations, to be around certain people that are of that particular community.
Right.
But I did not tell my daughter that. My daughter is 12. So I said, this will be an interesting social experiment. Because I know what I've told her. My conversations with my daughter is this. Look, you're going to come into situations where you are coming into contact with the people that are just different. They could be different race. They could be different religion.
Right.
They could have certain disabilities. They could be in the community that we're talking about right now.
Right.
But how you treat them is something different than how I may have been taught to treat them 25 years ago.
Right.
But I didn't tell her that. That's how I raised her.
Right.
So I said, okay, we're going to go to this game. It was awesome. You know, she went out to the field with one of my best friends who was running for office. She was under. It was an awesome experience. But I was interested to see how she would react.
Okay.
Because in your dad's generation, we've always grown up where someone who was different was either looked at like they were some sort of novelty.
Right.
That's the politically correct word. But you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So for example, you have dreads. I'm sure there are people that you come in contact with every day who want to play on your hair.
Yeah. That's
that used to bother me when I was young because I had different type hair. And people used to play in my hair. And I'm thinking, what is so exotic about my hair? It's just hair. So I didn't tell her. So she was so excited because she got to go in the field with Brianna Pinto. You know, she got to be introduced. It was awesome. So when we walk in, it was clear what it was. You had the flags. You had people wearing different outfits. And I said, let's see what she does.
Right.
She ignored it all. It's almost like she saw it. It was there. But she was so happy to be part of the overall experience.
Right.
That she never mentioned it.
Okay.
Did the whole ceremony, watched the whole game. It was not until we were driving home. And she said, hey, Dad. And I said, what? She said, it was pretty cool that it was a pride event too. And I said, yeah. I said, but you know, those people don't have to be like you.
Right.
You just have to treat them with a certain amount of respect.
Right.
She said, yeah, I can't even say I paid much attention to it. I was more focused on this.
Right.
Is there a way that our generation, because, you know, I'll be honest, folks, our generation tends to be very judgy. Where your dad is. Is there a way that we can communicate that there are ways to your generation? And I'm sure when you have kids, to your generation, you know, to your child's generation, to be more tolerant, but still have the ability to understand individually who you are?
Yeah, I think it just starts with those small conversations starting at home. Just a little conversation at home with your child or with your niece or nephew or whoever you're around that's a kid in that age group. Just having that small conversation, letting them know what you think and your views on it, and just kind of letting them know like what's out there in the world. So that way when
good and bad,
right. So that way when they get into these situations, they're not mind blown or they're not just receiving this information from somebody random. Right. And I consider random, it could be a teacher, it could be a person in a grocery store, it could be anything. Because I can just speak from my own experience. I was with my brother and my nephews one day, and we seen a guy who was wearing a dress, and my nephews immediately, Uncle Darren, that's not right.
Yeah.
Why is he wearing that? And we're in public, so of course me and my brother didn't, you know, dive into it right there. But when we were in the car, we had to tell him, like, you know, that's his choice. But at the same time, like, we believe one thing and they believe something else. And what we believe tells us we're not to judge anybody. Right. So if that's what he wants to do, by all means, let him live his life. But also know where your morals lie.
There you go. You mentioned word social justice. And you know where this is going there. I showed you the video of the young man outside of Amazon down in Smithfield, North Carolina. Right. What I consider social justice activism. I'm a product of a mother who was born during the civil rights movement.
Okay.
I'm 50 years old. You're 28. Tell us what your idea of social justice is.
Standing up for what you believe in. Whether it's different, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, if that's your belief, stand on it. Don't let anybody change your belief, because if you believe in it, then that means it's something to you. And that goes for anything in life, I feel like. So
I'm gonna ask you one of those Oprah questions.
Okay.
Oprah question, open-ended question that I want you to just say. What is the most significant interaction you've ever had with the police?
I've been arrested before. I've also have been a part of protests downtown Raleigh.
Yeah.
During the heat of the Black Lives Matter movement. We were out there for hours being tear gassed by the police. So that was my very first time actually seeing what my grandparents and great grandparents actually went through. And that was life changing for me because, like I said, I grew up in a social media era. And even in the social media era, we didn't see any of that growing up. And I was born in 96. I'm 28 years old. So
1996.
right.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
What does the idea of or the thought of an officer, not sitting here saying that every officer is bad.
Right.
Ain't no such thing as every person being anything, tell you the truth.
Right.
But if something goes down like George Floyd, to the point where you decide to go out there and risk your own safety and freedom to protest that issue.
Mhm.
If you were in a situation where you were George Floyd's family or Ahmaud Arbery's family or Breonna Taylor's family,
right,
or this young man at Amazon's family, the idea of the officer who was in the wrong having immunity,
that's not right.
Tell us what makes you say that.
Just because you're an officer of the law, that doesn't mean you don't have to abide by right and wrong. And so that just means like, you know, what you're doing, if it's right or wrong. Everybody knows. A toddler knows right from wrong because they know what their parents tell them to do and what not to do. So just because you wear that badge, you're supposed to serve and protect. Serve and protect is a big step when you're not protecting the people. And you can claim, I know some officers claim from just all the things that go on that I see on social media that they fear for their life and that's why they act certain ways. But for the example, for the video that I watched earlier from the guy from Amazon, you have two officers and he's face down. There's no way you're still fearing for your life and you have his hands cuffed already. Like, that's a very wrong step in the wrong direction, like right from wrong. You know what they teach you in the police academy. I don't know. I've never been to the police academy. I've never took those tests. I don't know what they train them to do, but I'm pretty sure they tell them right from wrong. Like as a parent, as if you would tell your child right from wrong. So that's just my view on that.
Okay. This election cycle. Okay. If I were to tell you that one candidate position is increased stop and frisk and immunity to officers who find themselves in a situation where they have been accused of police brutality.
Right.
What do you think about it?
I would think that person's crazy.
Okay.
Just my personal opinion.
Why do you use that word?
Because just going back to what I said, the whole right from wrong thing, if you know what a lot of these officers are doing in these situations is wrong, why would you offer immunity to every one of them when we don't really know what's actually being taught when they're in these situations in the first place? I feel like it has to be a bigger dive into these situations to kind of figure out what the root of the problem is before anything has to happen.
Couple more questions. I'm gonna push you now. I'm gonna push you. I've been pushing you. So, sure, you've had a conversation with your dad. How to respond when you get pulled over.
Right.
Hand was it 10 to 2, right? Make sure you got your ID on you. Stare straight ahead.
Right.
Try not to ask many questions. Then there's this loaded word, comply, right?
Right.
That's what your dad taught you, your mother taught you.
Yep.
Fast forward 7 years. You're 35.
Right.
You now have a son. You know what? Let's not even limit it to son. You have a daughter. Because they killing Breonna Taylor too, right?
Right.
What conversation like that would you have with your child? Would it be different?
No, I probably would have the exact same conversation that I had with my dad as a kid. And the first thing he ever told me was, when the moment you get pulled over is you call me, because you want to have somebody that can have your side of the story, and that can always be an outlet. So whether it's me putting him on speaker, or even sometimes it's me when I was 16, 17 getting speeding tickets, was me handing the officer the phone and say, here, talk to my dad. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Like, I don't know if you know who my dad is. His name's Fathead, but just talk to him and maybe he can kind of ease this situation and we can go from there. But as far as any kid dealing with the police, I feel like that's where your parent should come in contact and come and protect you from, because that's what my parents did for me in all those situations.
Interesting. I appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir.
I will see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. All right. So I got a special guest to the show. Councilman sits. They call him 6'9", but he really 6'11". I don't quite understand. Don't quite understand that. My fraternity brother of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I called him first thing this morning. I said, hey, man, I need you to come to Fatheadz Barbershop in Selma. He lives down in Smithfield, but he never lets me down. Marlon Lee, Smithfield, North Carolina. Proud graduate of where?
St. Aug.
I keep hearing somehow y'all want a CIAA championship.
Yeah, back in 1997, but
We're
St. Aug, we in trouble right now, though. I don't know
in
what's
trouble.
going to be
Yeah, I
in
know.
what St. Aug now, but it's
You know,
all good.
Let's take a few minutes to talk about that. Tell us what's going on. And tell us, is there a way forward given what's going on?
Well, it's probably gonna take more than a few minutes, but anyway, just we in trouble. Lot came down with our accreditation, with our board of trustees and everything. So right now our accreditation is probably gonna end in December. We probably gonna have about 200 kids on campus now, and we're just in a tough situation right now. Of course,
Well, you've been there though. You've visited several times since this happened.
oh, most definitely. I've been on campus, actually to clean up a few times, just to support the kids. So we just in a tough time now. But the main thing is making sure them kids right now, if the school having to shut down again, making sure them kids on campus be able to get somewhere else. So
They want that land bad, don't they?
oh, most definitely.
How many high rises they can put up there?
Oh, plenty of them.
I'm convinced that's what it's all about.
Oh, most definitely. It's about that land.
All right. You just heard the interview I did with Darren Robinson,
Oh, yeah.
28-year-old gentleman. You know him. You know his dad.
Yep.
Early voting's going on right now. It started Thursday. Across North Carolina, there is record voter turnout. I know you've ridden past those polls to see what's going on. You've been out there. Tell the audience what's going on out there right now.
Basically, everybody, this is that one election that's, definitely going to try to save our democracy. So actually, the last 2 days, I've been actually working the polls. I always work the polls, in Smithfield. So, everybody's coming out, which is a great thing. But as I'm telling people, they need to bring their friends, they need to bring their cousins, everybody, because this is a pivotal election, from the White House all the way down here to our school board election right here in Johnston County.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So, look, theatrically, I almost rolled my eyes when you said protect our democracy. Because I get the feeling that some kids, I'm going to say kids, or some people, when they protect our democracy, we automatically think, oh, here they go again. It's always some drama. Every election, we're told this is the most important election of our lifetime. Do you agree with them? And if you don't agree with them, tell us why this one is different.
Well, I mean, so much is at stake with this election right here. I mean, especially dealing, with the presidential election and all what he's trying to do and not do. So I just think that the real thing for some of our younger kids or whatever is, they really don't know the story of, how it was back in the 50s and 60s and so forth. So and basically, we're almost heading back that way. So that's why, a lot of times, the younger folks, that's what they kind of, gear towards, like, but we as older adults, hey, that's probably where we're going to end up going with the segregation amongst the schools, the housing,
vouchers, yep.
Right. I mean, just everything, livable wages, they're getting rid of DEI in certain places. So we're definitely going to be turning back the hands of the clock if we don't get out and vote.
It goes to that saying I learned a long time ago. If you don't know your history teaches us that if you're not careful, it's bound to repeat itself.
Yes, indeed.
So I asked this young man, Mr. Robinson, the concept of immunity. You and I had a conversation yesterday about what happened outside of Amazon. I specifically mentioned in the beginning of the show the situation that happened with Matt Sanders.
All right.
Which people act like it's not a big deal. This is the one where he gets pulled over for tags. They ask him to step out. He turns on the recording. He does the smart thing. He leaves the recording on top of his console, gets out, finishes having the conversation, but you can hear what's being said. You then see the particular police officer reach back in, pick up the phone, touch the keyboard. After the incident's over, Sanders says it's been deleted, and clearly it was deleted. So whatever the officer did at that point in time, deleted that video. You're the councilman of East Smithfield. Everybody know who's watching this video right now who lives in East Smithfield. Hispanic people, Black people, and it's across the railroad tracks. Young people, if you're watching this, Google what it means when African-American communities, what the railroad tracks mean. It's every southern, large and small town in this country. Certain people live across these railroad tracks. Other people live on the other side of the railroad tracks. When you hear stuff like immunity, when it comes to situations like Sanders, Smithfield, Amazon, Smithfield, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, in both situations, I mean, they hit real hard. I mean, especially dealing with Sanders' situation, and dealing with that same police officer. You know, he was once a Smithfield PD. You know, I had some issues personally with him myself, and but you know, clearly he did the right thing that night, and turning on his video camera.
Yep.
This election is going to be crucial too, because everything coming from Project 2025 on down to our state board of the election, it's going to trickle down to our own Johnson County Board of Elections, because you have some people aligned from the state board all the way up, and it's going to definitely affect what goes on in our public schools. You know, what they're going to be taught, if there are going to be any trade programs introduced, you know, within the school system, and you know, having SROs in the school system, you know, they can play a big factor, you know,
Yes.
and even with the, you know, stop and frisk, you know, they be ready to jump on kids in the school system.
You sent an interesting meme with me a couple weeks ago. And I read it and I laughed, but I shouldn't have been laughing because it was serious. The meme basically was of an officer in the school system searching the book bag of a kid that was dressed a certain way, skin color was a certain way, he's either Black or Hispanic, hat was a certain way. Meanwhile, there was a kid with a gun behind the officer and nobody saying a word to him. Why you think that meme was significant in your mind?
Hey man, that's true. That's just part of every day. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's very stereotypical. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, you know, that's kind of where we are. I mean, if you look a certain way, you know, they're gonna definitely be ready, you know, to jump on you and you know, frisk you down. And you know, meanwhile, you know, you got another group of folks that, you know, are probably doing more damage, you know, nationwide than the other group, you know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what's happening. So when I actually saw it, you know, it was just like, you know, it's really true. That's true. That's just part of life, and that's true.
It is what it is. Let me ask you, heard Mr. Robinson's interview, and he mentioned the concern that he had was the fact that he feels, based on some social media coverage, that in our school systems, certain kids may be getting influenced. And there may be a LGBTQ agenda that is, if not forced upon kids, maybe suggested. You're in school every day. I'm in the schools a lot. Do you see that actually going on?
I personally, I don't see it.
Okay.
I really don't see it.
Right. Now, I assume that some kids are taught to understand that other kids are different.
Right.
And that you don't necessarily attack a kid for whatever their differences are.
Exactly.
But when I have not seen that, have you?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Let's talk about DEI. We have certain school board members running for office or not on the ballot this time, where every social media post you see from them has to do with the dangers of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have a 12-year-old middle school, goes to Arches Lodge Middle. She may be the only brown/black spot in her class. I remember the books that I brought home that I thought were missing a lot of Black history. That I know that your parents, your mom and dad, and my mom and dad had to teach me things outside of. When I get my 12-year-olds information about history, we learned about Columbus the other day and I busted out laughing. We learned about colonialism and I busted out laughing. It's less than it was when we were little. So how in the world am I looking at my child's curriculum that is devoid of certain subjects that even I learned about in the 80s and 90s? Why are we constantly acting like these kids are being taught so much about the history of other ethnicities?
And they're really not. And, and with education, education, it starts at home.
Right.
And, even I have a daughter, 11th grader, right down the street here at Clayton High School. And, a lot of what I teach her, I'm not going to depend on the school system, to teach her. But, I just think one of the things that's almost missing in our communities is the village. And, growing up, we had the village where we definitely, had somewhere to go where we learned about us, and I mean, even in the times when schools were integrated, only difference was, they probably didn't have the up-to-date supplies and stuff like that, but, a lot was learned.
Right.
So, right now in the school system, there are certain things that don't want to be taught and, people, feel like it shouldn't be taught, but I just don't leave it up to a curriculum, especially to teach my own child.
Certain Board of Education members came up with a DEI policy, right? About 2 years ago. So there's a policy limiting and placing constraints on what can be taught anyway. So why are we still talking about it? This is not my fraternity brother's opinion. He's a school teacher there. I'm speaking as a parent. It ain't being taught. What they're doing is they're creating this boogeyman. And every time somebody is up to be elected, they're going to put out there these horrible things are being taught to our kids.
Exactly.
It is not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. Final word. I'm hearing that North Carolina turnout is sky high. I didn't vote on Thursday because I'm thinking I don't have time right now. I'm going to try to get out there and do it today. The lines I heard are long. You were at the polls the other day. Some of the nonsense that are being told to people of color in particular, when voter guides are being handed out, is crazy to me. I have watched people be flat out lied to. How you register? They'll tell you how to register. They will hand them what I know is the opposite voter guide.
Exactly.
And will say certain things to them to make them think that the pink voter guide is the same as the yellow voter guide, and it don't matter. Have you seen that?
Oh, most definitely. I've, last few days, matter of fact, I'm just coming back from the polls now. I stopped by this morning, but it's definitely a lot of, craziness, foolishness going on. And, that's why, it's important when you talk about the voter process, we actually need people out there standing, standing around, and so they can be able to inform our people what's going on, because there are a lot of crazy tactics out here. There's people even of color who are getting paid by people to pass out this junk, you know what I'm saying?
Hello.
It's just like, they're out there, they probably don't even know what day of the week it is, but they're out there and they're trying to push an agenda based on getting probably about $25, you know what I'm saying, getting some money in their pocket, and I've definitely experienced that the last 2 days, and but that's just where we are, and it's our own folks that look just like us.
Yes, look, you have a company and an organization that are hiring African-American people to specifically pinpoint African-American voters and hand them certain voter information with the expressed intent of having them correlate a black face handing them something with the black person that should vote for the people they're handing it for too. Don't be fooled. It is intentional. He's exactly right. They're getting paid $20, $30 a day. There may be should be working at a construction site, but the boss is telling them, hey, we want you, rather than building this house today, go and show up at this pole and work. You still getting paid. Understand what's going on. Now, this is not new. It's been going on for the last several election cycles. The reason why they're still doing it is because it works. It works. So what I would suggest you doing, if you know his cell phone number, shoot him a text. I know how many text messages he gets every day with people asking questions about stuff that they know he can't even do anything about. This is something that he and a lot of other people in the community very well may have some keen insight in. Send him that text message. Hey, I'm about to go out here to vote. I can't say I know everybody in this particular race. What are your opinion on it? I know he'll respond. I'll respond. Chuck will respond in Wake County. Fathead will respond. Judge Addie Harris Rawls, Pastor Apostle Rawls will respond. There's so many people out there who will respond to your question. We got a fraternity brother named Derek Mobley, who's retired from the Highway Patrol, who he said, hey, man, I'm down to this particular race. I got my ballot filled out, but I can't say I know who to vote for because these two people are both Democrats or both Republicans. Do you know them? Yeah, I know them. What's your opinion? I'm not telling you what to do, but that's how I respond.
Right.
Now, that's how it should work. Have these conversations in your churches.
Exactly.
I'm appalled by the fact that many of our churches, when I mean by our churches, I know exactly what you're talking about. Our churches have not had the voter ID conversation yet. I know your church has. I know my church has. But we got to get that information out there. What you doing for the rest of the day?
Actually, I'm gonna head back out to the polls for a little bit. Just to pass out some information, support some of the candidates who I'm definitely supporting. And then it's been a long week. And I'm gonna try to find some me time for the rest of the day. And that's about it. Be ready to hit the grounds running Monday.
Last question. You got a 15-year-old daughter?
She'll be 17 next Saturday. Yeah, 17. Yeah, 17
She's driving
next Saturday. Not even driving. I'm Mr. Dad Uber. Yep.
Tell us the conversation. This is personal, I know. And you don't have a lot of those personal conversations about your family, and I understand why. But tell us the conversation that you've had with your 16, almost 17-year-old daughter about the importance of this race and what it should mean to her.
Oh, just most definitely. I mean, because it's going to affect her, definitely. As she wants to go head off to college, be ready to work. She's a female, so just being able to have her own, women's rights, as she get older. So it's definitely a lot at stake for her, and so we definitely have those conversations, and so as I kind of educate her, hopefully she'll go out and try to have those same conversations with her friends, and the biggest thing I told her, next year this time, it'll be a municipal race going on, and
it will.
If I decide to run again, you know what I'm saying?
Or run for something else.
Right. She'll get a chance. She'll be ready to vote next year. So, so yesterday, my mom and dad voted, and she was out there at the polls after we got out to school, and she kind of saw me out there working and passing out information and stuff. So, so this, this whole total, election process of, what it takes, and then last night, having a chance to see her dad on the news last night, you know what I'm saying? So just, I just, kind of encourage her, you know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes it could be tough on her, because she's my daughter, you know what I'm saying? And, everybody's not going to always see eye to eye with what's going on with me.
There is such a story. When he says she's my daughter, there is such a story behind that as to why I know he can say that and be real about it. So I'm going to say something right now. I ain't letting you get off the hook on that. Okay, so he's 100% right. I had a dude send me a message the other day about Kamala Harris and her agenda for Black males. Okay. And the critique that he had was, just looking at me right there, she didn't have anything to address child support. Number one, child support is a state issue. Nothing Kamala Harris can do as president, or Donald Trump, or Moses could change your child support obligation. That's number one. Number two, I want you to understand what he just said. That is his daughter. What that means, and I'm going to say this because I don't want to get him in trouble, but I can say it. He He has raised his daughter from birth.
1 year old. 1
year old.
1.
So from the moment I met this gentleman until today, when I see him, well, not recently because she's older there, but I normally will see her. I don't hear him complaining about child support. You know why? That's his daughter. So maybe the answer to the gentleman that asked me the question about child support, maybe this is the answer. Get custody of your kid. If you got custody of your kid, you ain't paying child support. Now, I do understand as a lawyer, because I've done custody court before, that the judge makes a decision sometimes. And the judge may side with the mother and give the mother primary custody. That being said, this is 2024. I know what judges do now. Judges will pass out 50-50 custody like it's nothing now. If you get 50-50 custody, what does that mean? You may pay some child support, but only if you make so much more money than the mother. Number one. Number two, the idea of what a man is front and center in this race. You got the bro code, which is, I would much rather follow a man because a man understands what other men are and how to lead a household. Then you have what a man is, with the understanding that you can be all those things: the leader of your household, the father, the mentor, the teacher, the basketball coach, the councilman, the whatever, however many different hats you put on in 1 24-hour period. But part of leadership is what? Understanding who you're leading.
Exactly.
And what things we are equipped to do and what things we are not equipped to do.
Exactly.
And understanding this last thing, that sometimes women lead.
Yeah.
His daughter, when she hits 18 years old and she decides to do what she wants to do, the last thing he wants to hear is any man tell her bro code. Why? Because that's his daughter. I have a daughter.
That's right.
And those are hard conversations.
Exactly.
But when he says that is his daughter, that's exactly what he's talking about. It's my daughter. He was there to change the diaper. He was there to talk about puberty and body changes without somebody sitting right there helping him with it. That's what a man is. It ain't making some music video or calling some woman outside her name, swiping a credit card on her. That's not being a man. Grabbing between the legs. She's so dumb. She's so dumb. She's so stupid. She was born dumb. She was genetically dumb.
Right.
What does that teach black women? What does that teach any woman? What does that teach your son on as to how to treat a woman? Those are the conversations of what it means to be masculine and actually being a man. Those are two different things.
Exactly.
So I said all those things about you because I don't want somebody's family out there. No. I know exactly what it means. I appreciate your time.
Enjoy having me. Thanks for you and Chuck for all what y'all do.
You get a break for the day for a second after 5 o'clock and do what you do.
Oh, yeah.
People may criticize you.
Oh, yeah.
People may have something to say behind your back. Do what you do.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the platform.
Yes, sir.
Thanks again.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let me see who I can get up in here today. Let me see who I can call back here. I'm going around this corner. I'm going around this corner. You ready? Oh, he's still
check.
Sir, with the headset on. What's your name, sir? What's your first name? James, come back with me real quick if you don't mind. You don't want to do it, but come on, baby. How about you? Can I borrow you for 5 minutes? Here's what we're doing. My name's Attorney Antoan Whidbee. I do a radio show. It's called The Legal Way with Attorney Antoan Whidbee. This is Chuck Johnson. He's the owner of the radio station. This is his man, Ahmad. I don't forgot your last name, Ahmad, but I got Ahmad. Goings. Goings. So we're having a conversation about rights, about Black men voting, about women who support them and yourself. And I wanted to chat with you guys for 5 minutes. Is that possible that either one of you guys can come with me? Come on, brother.
I don't have a haircut, as you can see.
Good. Look, I got my cut today. He only cut around. All right, brother. Begin. All right. You look beautiful. You look beautiful.
You're listening to the People Station,
Please have
Choice FM 9210. It's the Legal Way with Attorney Antoan Whidbee.
So you were please grab the mic.
Yeah.
You were my 3rd interview today.
Okay.
We just had Councilman Lee, who just left.
I saw.
Yeah. We had Mr. Robinson, 28-year-old African-American male, who gave me some tremendous insight on things that he finds important.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got you on Facebook Live.
Okay.
We got you on the radio show.
Okay.
Easy softball questions at first.
Okay.
Give us your name and where you're from. James.
Yeah.
What's your last name, James?
Champion.
Champion? Okay. Where you from?
Wendell.
Wendell. Okay. Born and raised?
Born and raised, but moved away and then came back home.
Where did you go to and then come back from?
New York.
New York?
Yeah.
Why in the world would you go to New York and come back?
I heard that the money was better. I had a trade, so
What's your trade?
I used to do floors.
Flooring?
What types of floors? Yeah.
Do you still do it?
Yeah, a little bit every now and then. 54 years, going on 54 years.
So if I got a little bathroom I need some help with, I can call you?
Quick.
I'm gonna get your number.
Okay.
Because I got a bathroom
Okay.
my wife has ordered me.
Yeah.
It's got to be fixed. All right. So you live in Wendell.
I live in there, yeah.
Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
You're close in my generation. We got some young guys in here we've been talking to.
Okay.
If you were having a conversation with a young African-American male right now, or a young Hispanic male right now, you know what we're in the middle of, early voting, right?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I just told my wife we're gonna vote while we're out. We can find a place. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you find important about this particular race going on right now?
Well, history, if you pay attention to your history from what one of the presidential candidates has done previously and what he's done up to this point, it should be a no-brainer. I mean, it really should be a no-brainer.
What you mean by that?
I mean that as a Black American and lived in New York a certain length of time, I knew this man.
Whoa.
I knew his moves because I've worked in Trump Towers before doing floors when I lived in New York.
Oh my goodness.
So I knew how he treated his employees before hearing about it from Florida. The people, his employees in Florida, they could complain. Yeah. Well, I knew this long time ago. I'm 73, by the way.
Okay.
So I knew how he was then. Compared to him and Kamala or Kamala, which way you want to call it, I mean, like I said, it's a no-brainer. Why would I vote for a criminal and I got a lawyer that's proven what she can do in the court system and for the people? She's a people person,
right?
Not a person that's for themselves and rich. You know what I'm saying? So
you actually used to work in Trump Tower?
I've done work all down Fifth Avenue, all over New York City.
What was his reputation back then?
He was a sport young man coming up. I was there when his father was living. So he inherited. People say, oh yeah, Donald Trump rich. What if he does? Does he have a college degree? Does he have a college degree?
He's got something from somewhere.
He's got a fake college. He refused to go to the military, number one.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Bone spurs.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's not like Muhammad Ali, it's not a Christian thing. It's not his belief. He made an excuse not to go to the military. Okay. So his dad, I don't know, you know the history of his father, but
oh yeah.
You know the history of his father?
Oh yeah.
For real, for real.
Yeah.
Okay.
The white supremacists?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
That's it.
So, he owned a lot of low income properties back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They went in and they redid it up. Now that's between him and his father now.
Yeah.
You know, and then they started charging people twice as much rent.
Yep.
That's why New York had the rent law passed that if you there in a building, somebody buy the building, they can't raise your rent.
Correct.
You were still on the same
Correct.
thing, right? So the money that he made was his father just gave it to him pretty much.
$400 million.
Yeah, pretty much.
And see, $400 million back then is billions.
It's like
now.
billions. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, dude, I mean, it seemed like everywhere that guy go is just like trouble. For both. People have their own right to do what they want to do. If I was born and raised in this country, I cannot see that somebody's coming in this country and want to vote for this guy, and everything he does is not for anybody that's not his race.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm not being prejudiced, but his track record speaks for itself.
It does.
You know,
it does.
And I'll tell you something else. If people pay attention, a lot of people don't know this, but everywhere you see Trump signs, it's always in the poor white people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yards. You're right.
Yeah. You see,
why do you think that is?
They don't know any better. They think that he's a messiah. He's not gonna make you rich. You've been poor all your life. All of a sudden, you're gonna get rich because you vote for this man. People tell you that it's not for poor people, he's for the rich. Dude, you live in a trailer house out in the country and you got an S10 pickup truck. He don't care nothing about you. He wants your vote.
Wouldn't even shake your hand if he walked up on you.
No. Everything I've got, my house, all our cars and stuff, didn't nobody get, we had to work hard for that. So we're middle class people, and I want my vote to count. I want my wife's vote. Check this out. My daughter's 18, this is her first year.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to, as my wife get a haircut, we're going to go pick her up and take her to vote as a family.
Good for you. I always take my 12-year-old with me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, last time I went, trucks, big pickup trucks came by with the Confederate flags. They started revving those engines. Boom, boom, boom. She looked at me. I said, don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
It intimidated me.
No. Were you in New York when the Central Park 5 happened? That issue?
I was up there I went to New York in 1970.
Okay. When did you come back here?
I came back in 92.
So you were already back here when all that was happening. Well, right toward the tail end of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember hearing about it, but I worked 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you this question. The idea of manhood has been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the fact that he's appealing to certain types of men who may have issues seeing a woman in that particular position.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about that? Masculinity and the fact that she will be a minority woman running the free world.
My thoughts is I just want what's best for me and my family. You know, I got 3 boys, 3 men. I got 7 girls.
Wow.
Okay. So I just want what the best for. Didn't matter to me whether it's a female or male. But for our generation today, the way that everything is going on now, I think it's for a change, and a change in the form of Mrs. Harris is great because she's gonna change the whole genre. The whole thing is gonna change by her being a female. You know, female rights, number one. Why shouldn't it be? She's a female, she ran for president.
Right.
Okay. Why should you, anybody shouldn't be able to tell my wife what to do with her body and my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So for her being I would love for my daughter to vote and Kamala Harris win the election so she can learn some things from the female president.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
My boys already know, my men, they already know. But for my daughters to see this as it would be, I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Now, do you live in Wendell Johnson County or Wendell Wake County?
Wendell Wake County.
Okay. So when it comes to things like other races, like school superintendent, board of education, do you guys focus on those races also?
We do. Well, I do, because I watch the news and I see, and I see what's going on, because I drive truck.
Okay, good.
So I go I go across the state.
Yeah.
So I see some areas, some school districts, the small school districts, they pass up a lot of good stuff like performing arts. Some small schools won't accept the performing arts,
right,
because of the financial situation.
Budget, yep.
You see, but the larger schools, they'll take it and they'll go with it because of the population that the smaller schools are in, and the population that the larger schools are in. And then you got people in the school district that's not running it the way it should be run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, I don't know. I just think that it could be a whole lot better.
I'm not going to vote. It don't matter. Why does it matter to me? What would be your advice to him?
I would tell him he's an idiot. First of all, I would tell him you're an idiot for not voting. I was born in 51. Okay. So what I hear back in the day, we really couldn't vote. Only thing we was good for was work.
That's about it. Yep.
That's working in the fields.
My mama did too.
Yeah, in the fields and, picking cotton, all this kind of stuff. There's so many people that have died trying to get us where we are today. A lot of kids don't want to look back at it, but it's the truth. I got my right to vote because of what Martin Luther King did back in the day. And the kids today tell me, well, they don't want to vote. It's a waste of time. Why? One vote could change the whole thing. Just
change
one
the world.
vote. My daughter, 18, her vote might change it. My time's up.
That's it.
Yeah. So I get to talking.
5 minutes. All right. So I appreciate your time, James.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
I'm gonna try to squeeze one more in. Keep fighting the good fight.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on taking your daughter with you today.
Oh yeah.
And
she's excited too.
Have them treat you to a big lunch after it's over.
Good luck with that. I'm dealing with two women. So
Now, this gentleman I know overheard my conversation in the chair this morning. Let me have a seat for me real quick. All right. What's going on, man? Last one. There you go, right there. You know why we're here? A little bit anyway.
A little bit.
I'm a lawyer. I do a video show. I know Fathead and Plumber and all these guys in here. Real quick, I'm not gonna take all your time because I know you're working.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give us your name and where you live.
My name is Wendell Walton. I live out here in Clayton.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 50.
So you and I the same age. Pick up your microphone just a little bit because he got to get you.
Okay.
If there was one issue that you would say is important to you when you watch the news, watch social media, something like that, what would that one issue be?
Here in Clayton or just
either specifically here in Clayton or in the world?
And the world is crazy right now. My biggest issue right now is this election.
Okay.
The election. Just so much. I just wish the politicians would just stop bashing each other and talk about actually fixing problems.
What problems are you interested in?
Well, I hear a lot of people that's supporting Trump talk about the border and stuff like that. My thing is, it should be more about our future generation, our kids. Better healthcare. I think they should get healthcare for everybody.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be if you don't make enough money, you don't get the best healthcare. Everybody should be able to get the best healthcare. That's how I feel about it.
Because what people don't know is this: you get sick, or somebody in your household gets sick, and the insurance company either don't cover it, or they decide they can cover a certain point,
right,
and cut you off. It will bankrupt you financially.
Yes, it will.
It will. Reason why I know that, I never thought about it. I figured I was young, relatively healthy, and then my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had insurance, which is great.
Right.
Here's the problem. All those copays, all the stuff they won't cover.
Right.
You got to get these, exercises done with the physical therapist. Our insurance, which I thought was good, didn't cover.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm paying $1,000 here, $1,000 there.
Right.
And it's like having a whole nother kid.
Yes, it is.
Or a whole nother house.
Right.
But that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Why do you think politicians aren't talking about specific issues that need to be fixed for the future generation?
Well, I believe the politicians, they're lining their pockets.
You're probably right. Buying, a lot of these policies only help them.
Yeah, they help them. And when you want to talk, they're talking about helping you're talking about the middle class. You need to be helping these people get out of poverty. And these rich people, they're getting richer. They're helping them.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? And then when you hear people say, well, if the big companies can't make money, they can't pay they making money and still ain't paying.
100%. So during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even right now,
mm-hmm.
you go to the grocery store. They got all these electronic tellers now, right? You got to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever asked them why they have the electronic tellers? They'll tell you to save money, right?
Right.
Have you noticed those prices ain't gone down?
No, they ain't going down.
They're not going down.
They're not going to go down.
Because those CEOs are doing what?
Pocketing the money.
Pocketing the money.
Yep. Lining their pockets up.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
You have kids?
Yes.
How many?
I got 7.
What are their ages?
Ages from my youngest is 11, my oldest is 30.
Okay, so you got grown to elementary school.
Yes.
Okay. When you sit there and watch the news, or you're riding around, you got these commercials coming at you. The youngest ones, when you're having a conversation with them, why do you tell them it's important? That these conversations about where the world should be going is important to them?
Because they're going to be the future leaders of this world. And they need to know. You have to teach your kids to be productive in this world. Stay away from, I try to tell my kids, stay away from negativity and always be positive. That's the only way you're going to make it in this world. To stay positive and stay away from negativity. Align your friends with positive people, not doing negative things. Because I see a lot of these kids out here, especially in these the children that's in the lower class neighborhoods, and but I'm from Ohio, Cincinnati.
Okay.
And when I came up here and I seen the lower class neighborhoods, I thought it was middle class.
Wow.
Down where I'm from, it's lower.
Yeah.
Up here, you can't really tell. This is I love this state.
Good.
The police is everybody say the police up here bad. No, there's nothing
compared to where you are.
Oh my goodness. If like down here, I've seen people ride around for 2 years with expired tags. And where I'm from,
I do that here.
Where I'm from, it don't. You lucky to get away a day.
Wow.
Yeah, police is on it. They own it down there. It's way more racially profiled down there.
All right. Last question. Mm-hmm. You have daughters?
I used to.
Okay. You're talking to a female.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your advice to them as to why this election is important for them?
Because they're trying to take their rights away. They don't want a woman to be able to make decisions for themselves, their bodies, and I don't think they should do that. People should make their own decisions on what they want to do with themselves. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly believe in people taking aborting children and stuff like that, but there's certain circumstances that they should be able to have that choice. You should have a choice any way it goes.
In life is about choice, right?
Yes.
I know you got to get back to the work. There's a line back there.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your time, brother.
All right, thank you.
All right, yes, sir. So we've talked to several brothers here, Fatheadz Barbershop. We appreciate him letting us use his venue to have this conversation. We've had some enlightening answers, different answers, different concerns. And that's what makes us unique. But it also, we were able to find common ground. I did not agree with everything that was being said. I'm sure they did not agree with everything that I said. The point of the matter is there was mutual respect, there was love, and understand this, and I'm gonna leave it at this. The brothers care about this election. I don't care what the talking heads say on the media about who's not gonna vote, who's not paying attention. We are paying attention. We do care. We do have your back. Okay? We just have to be willing to have conversations and listen to each other rather than let someone else dictate what we believe in or the fact that we actually care at all. We do. We support you. Loss of Antoan Whidbee, love you. Chuck, we're out. Make sure you vote. Take care. Bye-bye.